everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Chia and happy Bookmas. I decided to make a video about all the series I'm currently in the middle of. I am trying to hold myself accountable right now to actually finish series I am in the middle of. And so, since we are about to go into New Year, since we're in the middle of December, I thought it would be good to go over all the series I've since started and also seriously going through all the books that I want to actually continue, because I have been doing that where I cannot DNF books or series for the life of me, and I need to stop doing that. Series, I am giving myself chances to DNF because if I'm not vibing with the series, or if it's just not my cup of tea, or if I'm like really feeling mediocre about the characters, the world, or the story, and I'm really having to push myself to pick it up, that's not good. So I've decided to be really ruthless and get rid of a lot of series that I have no desire to pick up whatsoever. There's so many books out there that I am so excited to read that I just am not letting myself pick up because I'm in the middle of so many book series. This is going to be really me culling out everything and then continuing on to see if I'm going to be continuing on with the next installment or not, or if I'm going to leave it behind in 2025. So let's get started. I was going through all the other series. I was like in the mid 30s range, and then I went down and then went back up. And when I was making this list and actually really going through all the series that I have started reading, I realized that I added a lot more than I should have, and right now I just need to get rid of a lot of them. The first book I want to go over is A Study in Drowning by Ava Reid. I love the first book and I really want to continue on with the second one. So this book series is a dark academia. It's sort of like a dark fairy tale, and it's sort of like if you remember the Grimm fairy tales, and it's perfect for spooky season and fall, and I love the atmosphere of it, and I thought the characters were good enough for me to follow through, and I think it's just going to be a duology. I thought the ending of the first book was perfect, so when I found out there was going to be a second book, I didn't think it was necessary, but since it is going to be hopefully just a duology, because I don't see it going further than that, I will be picking up the second book, and then after that I'll be done, because I really did enjoy the series. I love the atmosphere of the world, I love the dark grittiness of it, and also how it's like sort of dark academia as well, and then it was set in like this like crumbling mansion that was like overrun with flooding, and so I think this one is going to take further place into the actual academia part of it, of the school, and maybe a little bit concluding of the previous story. I don't know how they're going to conclude it, because I already think that they concluded it fine with like open-ended questions. Like, I don't mind if there's like tiny little open-ended questions that I don't need the answer of, but if like there's big plot points that are missing from the end of a book, I obviously would want it to be continued. But this one I thought ended well, and I didn't really have a lot more questions, so I'm very curious to see what the second book will be about, but I will be picking it up. And then this is a series that I started this year. It's called The Compelling Fate Saga. It's a 4-book series. The fourth one is supposed to come out in the December 17th, I believe. It's an indie published series, and it's all on Kindle Unlimited. I think the first one was not great, but I was interested enough to continue on, because one of the male main characters that I like is like very reminiscent of how Rowan was with Aelin in Throne of Glass, and I love Aelin and Rowan. They're one of my favorite couples of all time, so of course anyone who is compared to Rowan in any series I'm going to absolutely eat up. I was a little bit connecting to the characters in this first book. I didn't really rate it too high. It was like 3.5 to me, but it was enjoyable enough for me to continue with the second one. And also, since it's going to be completed in the next couple weeks in December anyways, I might as well just finish it. And also, these books are not that long. They're like about less than 400 pages, I think, or a little bit over 400 pages. And I heard the second book is way better than the first one. So even though I didn't fully like get obsessed with the first one, I have a feeling that I will once I do continue on with the second one. So yes, I'll be continuing on with that series. The next one is another one that I started this year. You could see that I actually like started a lot of book series this year, and also apologies if you hear like sort of music or sound in the background. There's someone who is blasting their sound system right now, and I can't really do anything about that, but hopefully I can dull it enough so that you guys won't have to hear it and it's not distracting enough. But continuing on, yeah, Servants of Earth, which is a part of the Shards of Magic trilogy. I thought it was going to be a duology at first, but once I saw the ending and then I looked more into the series, I think it's going to be a trilogy, I want to say. I love Servant of Earth. I thought it was great. It follows a character who is human, and she ends up going into the Fey world because of a sort of like ritual that her town follows. So every 5 years there are 4 girls who are chosen to go into the fairy world. So her best friend ends up getting chosen as one of the 4 girls who goes into that. So she ends up going into the forest or the swamp area to rescue her friend, and then she inadvertently steps into the Fey world, and then it goes on from there. I love this world because it's a lot darker, grittier, and also it reminds reminds me of like the Cruel Fae in Cruel Prince trilogy. If you read that trilogy, I love that it's a lot more darker folklore rather than like, you know, the nice fairy tale like fairies. So that's why I love this first book so much. I give the first book 4.5, and also there's like a love story that took place mainly in the first book. So I am so excited to continue on the second one. It's called Princess of Blood, and it was just released in September. So I'm excited to pick it up. It's already on my shelf, and yes, definitely I will continue. And then the next one is Daughter of No Worlds by Carissa Broadbent. That's a trilogy that is finished. I haven't picked it up since the first one because there was other stories that I wanted to pick up. And also there's so many people who are obsessed with this trilogy. They compare it to Throne of Glass a lot. And if I haven't mentioned before, Throne of Glass is one of my favorite series of all time. I think about that series daily, and it's time for a reread. But anything that is compared to the Throne of Glass world, I will pick up right away. And the first book was good. I liked that there was like a little twist halfway through that was kind of different from all the other fantasies that I've picked up, but I didn't connect enough to the characters for me to become obsessed with it. But I like to go into like the second book to see if the series is actually ultimately for me or not, especially since there's so many people who love the series, and the people who love it have like very similar like taste to me. So I am leaving myself open to continuing on because I do love the main character. I really love the story. I'm just giving myself a little bit time to get obsessed with it. I'm crossing my fingers the second book will be the one that will make me get obsessed. And moving on, the next series, the Red Rising saga, I of course will be continuing on with that series. I love the second book. Golden Sun was a 6 stars for me, one of my favorite books of this year, and so I for sure will be continuing on, and I will be actually picking it up soon. The next one is the House of Devil series. There's currently 4 books out right now. I think it's going to be 5-book series, and they're all long and chunky. I love the first book, which was City of Gods and Monsters, but the second book I ended up giving 3.5 stars to. I think a lot of the characters kind of reverse their character development, and also I hate to say this, but I think like Darren gave me a little bit of the ick, just a little bit, and also I just don't like the fact the story was very repetitive. But since I love the characters so much from the first book, and also I heard that the third book will introduce a new POV and a new character and a new different part of the city, I will be continuing with the third book because I also have it on my shelf. And the fourth book just came out this year. I think it came out in July. I haven't picked it up yet because I'm giving myself the chance to read the third book first and see if I can get back to having the series redeemed in my eyes, at least, or in my opinion. If I don't like it past the third book, I might end up DNFing. So I'm putting a lot of like expectations on the third book, which is kind of unfair, but a lot of the people kept saying that the third book is the best one. So let's hope I fall in love with it again. And the next one is the Kindred's Curse saga. I of course will be continuing. I haven't picked up the third book yet because I'm still waiting for the fourth book to be announced with the release date. Still no word yet. In fact, there's like false dates being spat out in 2026, but I'm not believing it because Pencole has said herself that any dates you find online, the only accurate dates will be announced by her and her team. And I've kind of been waiting forever for the fourth book to be announced. I did read it in a reading vlog, like I think it was my first reading vlog on this channel. I posted it last year and it's not the best quality. I really am not that proud of it. So once the fourth book is gonna get announced, I will probably end up rereading the whole entire series. So I might just redo a video for that, including the third book, because I absolutely love the main character in it, Luther. I love him so much. I love how broody, and I love how he will crawl anywhere for DM. He's so obsessed with her, but DM I have such big problems with because of the choices that she constantly makes. She's one of the most infuriating female main characters I've ever read about, so it's gonna take a lot for me to actually like her. Hopefully she does a big huge character development in the third and fourth book, we shall see. But I'm here for Luther, and also I'm here for the world. I love how fleshed out the world is. It reminds me a lot of like Greek mythology a little bit, because every single different area has like a certain magic that is tied to it, and if you're tied to a certain area of the world with your magic, once you cross borders and go into a different part of the world, your magic kind of like gets nullified a bit because the land that you are in is like prioritizing the magic that the god is about, which I love. I love that the story and the world is so unique. That's why I fell in love with it in the first place. So let's hope the third and fourth book is better than the first two, and also let's hope that the fourth book will get announced soon. Next one is This Woven Kingdom by Tahira Mafi. This one is a 5-book series. 4 books are out. The fourth book actually just came out in September, I want to say. This is sort of like a Cinderella retelling. It's a YA, I want to say, and this follows a character who is sort of stuck in the human world. She seems to be just a regular normal seamstress who is a part of the poor district. In reality, she's actually the only living heir of the Jin kingdom, and so she ends up having interaction with a prince who is a part of this like other kingdom that they're sort of enemies with. And then also the big plot twist at the end that I absolutely love. It was a cliffhanger and I want to continue it on with it. I love Tahereh Mafi's writing. I fell in love with it in the Shatter Me series. Shatter Me is one of my favorite series of all time. I know it gets a lot of like hate because of the way it's written, but I love it. I thought it was such a fun good time, and so I didn't take it like super seriously. I love Aaron Warder, he's great, but there's like other book boyfriends that I've met in like other series that I love more than him. So I really want to reread the Shatter Me series also, but that's not what this is about. I kind of like had a okay experience with the first one, but I know it's gonna get better in the second, third one. It's just I'm afraid of like the stuff that I've heard about it so far. I heard that it's not very plot heavy, it's very character driven, and I love character driven stories, so I think I'm gonna fall in love with it. And especially since I already have like all 4 books on my shelf, I think you could see it up there, right there. They're so pretty, the covers are so pretty, so I hope I fall in love with it even more. The next is the Crowns of Nyaxia series. The Crowns of Nyaxia series is actually split up into different duets. The first one was the first 2 books, Serpent and the Wings of Night, and the second book, Ashes and the Starcursed King. I love Serpents and the Wings of Night. I devoured that book in like less than 2 days. So of course I immediately jumped into the Ashes of the Starcursed King. I read it all on Kindle Unlimited, and I love the first one. The second one was kind of like okay for me. I didn't like how the story progressed. I think the plot point kind of like made the main character devolve a bit, and I stopped really liking him in the second book. And also I was like really okay on the main storyline. I kind of wish it didn't take that turn, but I am interested in moving on to the next duet, so I think I'm gonna pick up the duet maybe in the beginning of next year. I'm just gonna continue on with it. I just think it's a fun good time, and I actually really do like the world because each duet follows different characters and different like factions, and it's about vampires, which I feel like we should have more books about vampires besides like the typical like Twilight and stuff like that. I hope we get more vampire books, and I want to pick up more vampire books in the future. Next series is Hollow Heathens. This is the book that takes place in like a sort of Halloween town world. It's like a dark romantasy, gothic fantasy, something like that. It's like not series that will be following the same characters. It's a bunch of different books in the same sort of town that will be interconnected, but they'll be following different characters. And it's following these boys who are called the Hollow Boys, and they're cursed to wear masks the whole time because if they take off their masks, they will unalive people, which is pretty crazy. And so I want to follow up with like the second book. It's called Bowden Island. It's following a different character, and I heard the second book is better, so yeah, for sure I'm going to continue on with it because I have the physical copy. Next is the Zodiac Academy series. I will be continuing on because I'm making my way through a different series right now that I'll mention. I for sure will continue on with it once I'm done with that series, and it's just we'll see. You'll see all my thoughts and opinions later about it because I'm filming a whole entire vlog about it, but it's taking a little bit while because there's all so many iterations in this whole entire world, so we shall see. But I will be continuing on. The Medoran Chronicles, which is I think one of Lynette Noni's first series. I love it. It's a very YA series. It's 5-book series. I love the world and how much it's expanding, and it's sort of like a Harry Potter-esque where you go to classes and like follow the characters every year. So we shall see how it continues on, but for sure I'm continuing on with that series. Next is Ember in the Ashes. I love the first book. Of course I will be continuing on because I heard this book series is amazing. And then the one I was talking about for the Zodiac Academy is called The Ruthless Boys of the Zodiac. And this one is a prequel to the Zodiac Academy world. It's taking place in a different academy. It's more of their rival school. So this one follows a character named Elise. She's a vampire, and it's a sort of reverse harem story. I enjoyed the first one. I'm currently making my way through the second one very slowly, so we'll see how I deal with that, but I want to finish it off so that I can move back onto the Zodiac Academy series. Some of the characters will start showing up in the 4th book. That's why it's very important to read like the series before that. Like it's not needed, but it has more of an emotional impact, and I love emotional impact, so that's why I'm reading it now. Next is Fayev Academy of Spies. This is a trilogy. The first one was Avalon Tower, and I just had a fun good time with the first one. It's gonna be a palate cleanser series. It's not gonna be like a, you know, favorite series of all time, but I will continue on with it because I did like the first book. It's not very unique, follows a lot of like familiar tropes that we've come across with every other romantasy, but I always like to have like romantasies that are just fun good times that are not super serious and super high stakes that I love to just use as palate cleansers. So this is one of them, and I really like it for that, so I will be continuing on. And I think it's a completed series. It completed earlier this year, and it's all on Kindle Kindle Unlimited. Next one is A Touch of Golden Madness. It's going to be a trilogy. It's a dark fantasy world that follows two characters who one is a kinetic and one is elemental. They're both from enemy kingdoms and they end up slowly like falling in love because they both end up having a common enemy. I love the first one. I gave the first one a 4.5. The second one is coming out at the end of December, but I got approved for an arc for it and I'm slowly making my way through it once I'm done with like the current books that I'm finishing right now. So yes, for sure I'm continuing on with that. The next one is Gods and Monsters. You've seen me read this in previous vlogs. I of course will be continuing on. I have the fourth book with me now. I will probably try to read it by the end of the year. We'll see. If not, beginning of January I will and finish it. Then we're gonna just have to wait till the 5, 6, 7 books are out. It's a long series. There's so much to go over in this series. There's a huge plot that we're following, and then also it's introducing so many characters. There's like so many character POVs that we're like being introduced to right now. So I'll for sure continue on with it because the characters are one of my favorites. I love that it's a dark urban fantasy and it's such a unique series. That's what I love about it. And the female main character Diana is like such a dark gray female main character. I absolutely love her. And then the next one is the Legacy series. Of course I will continue on with it. One of my favorite series of all time. I'm currently reading the last book in this series. Going to be a part of another vlog. I love the series so much, and depending on how that fourth book goes, it will become one of my god tier series because I love the world so much. And yes, the characters are infuriating. They make so many bad choices, especially the male main character, or one of the male main characters, and also the female main character. She has dealt with a lot of trauma in her life. That's why a lot of the choices she's making kind of irritates a lot of people who pick the book up, but it's one of those trust the process books. I love Melissa K. Rorick's writing. I love her world and I trust her with the characters, so I can't wait to finish the fourth one. I of course will be continuing. I love it so much. And then these books are waiting more releases, and so the next one is the Wolf King trilogy. So I'm waiting on the last and third book to come out. It's supposed to come out around summer 2026, so I can't wait for it to come out. I think it just got picked up to be traditionally published, so of course they're re-releasing all the books traditionally, and then hopefully we'll get the last one in summer of 2026. It's such a good series. It's one of those very bingeable series. I was so surprised at how obsessed I got with it. It's such a good story. It follows wolf shifters. It follows a character named Princess Aurora. She ends up getting like kind of kidnapped by one of these wolf shifter alphas, and usually I don't read a lot of books with like alpha omega verse kind of stuff, but I absolutely love this series. It's such a good bingeable series, especially if you're just wanting some palate cleanser, but this is more than a palate cleanser. I became so obsessed with the characters. It's a love triangle. There's a clear winner in my eyes. I am on one team more than the other. I love the other character too. It's just I think she should be with the one male main character over the other. You just have to pick it up to find out. I absolutely love the series and I can't wait for the conclusion and to see how it ultimately ends and who she ultimately chooses. I am so excited to see the last like book. Next is the Avalon Academy book, which follows a character who is a fae, and it's very similar to Zodiac Academy. I actually really like the world. I did end up giving it 3 stars because it's such a long book. It's 700 pages for a debut novel, but I'm hoping it gets better in the second one because there are certain characters in here that I absolutely love and got obsessed with, and they're the only reasons why I want to continue on with it. So we shall see if like it gets a little bit better in the second book, and I hope the plot gets better too and we feature more of the characters that I like. So I think the second one is supposed to come out February or March of 2026, I want to say. We'll see. Next is the Ashton series. This one is a sort of like Viking story. I didn't think I would like a Viking story, but this one is so good. The first one was called Road of Bones by Demi Winters. It's going to be 5-book series, I believe, and I read the first 2 and I have the arc for the third one, so I'm so excited. There's also a novella that I have to read first before the third book. That's why I haven't picked up the arc yet. I love the series so much. I gave the first one a 4.5 and then the second one, which is Kingdom of Claw, a 5 stars. This is the book series that I feel like to me gives me closest feelings to when I read Throne of Glass. I can't wait to continue on with it. It's a multi-POV and there's like different characters that are all over the world, and also I can't wait to continue on with the series. Next is Celestials of Arcadia Insurgency. This one is the prequel to the Touch of Golden Madness story. It follows characters prior to all the actions in Touch of Golden Madness, so you have to read a Touch of Golden Madness before you pick up Embrace of Steel and Sorrow. It's going to follow the same trajectory as From Blood and Ash, because From Blood and Ash also has a prequel series that you read in between the other book series, so this one's gonna be like very similar. And so yeah, I will be continuing on with that series too, just so that I can get like the full scope of it and to get the full emotional impact of it, which I absolutely love. Hi friends, sorry if there's like a slight change in like the lighting or also my appearance, I went to go export the files in this continuing series like video, and I found out a lot of my files got corrupted because of like an issue with my battery, and it's a long story, but I found out that the clip that got corrupted lost a lot of the footage, so I'm here to continue on. So I'm a little bit upset about it, but you know what, it is what it is, so I'm choosing to push forward and I'm gonna continue on. But the next series I wanted to talk about is the Played Prisoner series. The first book was Guild. I read the first 3 books of it. There's 6 books out, it's completed, and it's written by Raven Kennedy. It's a dark fantasy retelling of Midas. Midas is sort of the king of this world. We follow a character named Aren. She's sort of like the gold-touched girl, and she has a relationship with King Midas. She's been with him since like the beginning, and so she's sort of one of the main saddles of like the king, and she can't be touched by anybody. But one day she ends up getting traded for a different king to do services with, and she ends up feeling like she's betrayed. And so it goes on from there, and like basically finding her journey. I think the first one was like the worst one right now because it just felt sort of like a novella. I think the first and second book should have been combined together. The second book, it expands the world more and we meet a lot more characters, and so it basically tells her journey and how she finds her own like strength and everything. My favorite so far has been the second and third book. I think it was well done. I have sort of like a on and off like feeling for the series. I loved the 2 and 3. The first one was good enough for me to want to binge into the second and third book, and then I kind of like started getting a burnout from the series since I binged the 3 books one after the other, and I kind of like stopped. And that was like the end of last year. No, that was the beginning of last year. I think I kind of made a mistake by not jumping into the 4th, 5th, and 6th books because I don't have the motivation anymore to pick it up. The books are so long, and I honestly feel like the end of the 3rd book kind of like was a perfect conclusion to what the situation was, because it sort of ended a lot of different storylines that we were dealing with, and so I don't understand what was going to happen in the 4th, 5th, and 6th book if one of the situations looked like it was wrapped up. I do have the physical copies of it, but I might end up getting rid of the physical copies and just read it on my Kindle because it is on Kindle Unlimited. I want to just read one more book from there and fully decide if I want to continue on with it or not. So at this point right now, I will continue on, but we'll see after when I do finally get the mood to pick up the next book in it. So we'll see. Next book series is Heavenly Bodies. I read Heavenly Bodies in January. There's a reading vlog that I did of it. I did not have a good time on it. I think it's because I just read it during the worst time, so I'm a feeling that it was the right book, wrong time situation, so I will be rereading it when I have the mood to. I do want to continue and read Fallen Stars and give it a second book chance. I heard Fallen Stars is a lot better than that one, and also it expands the world a bit. It's a celestial based magic system, and then the gods are represented by the different signs of the zodiac, and they have different names in this, and I really did like the world and the way it was written. It was very descriptive, very fantastical, and very like whimsical. I didn't like the relationship. I just felt like there was no connection between them and they were just being forced, and it was just a bunch of cheesy lines. That's how I initially felt of it. Like I said, I'm gonna reread it and see if I fall in love with it with the second book, the Fallen Stars book. Next is Realms of Peril. I believe that first book is Worthy of Fate, and the second book, I don't remember what the second book is called. I'll put it up here, but the first book I liked, the second book not so much. It's a forbidden mate trope, and I just felt like it was kind of insta-love in the first one, but I did really like the characters, so I wanted to continue on. But the second book just felt so discombobulated. There was like so many random stuff thrown in, and then we also had a random POV that didn't explain itself until the end, and every single time that new POV popped up, I just got so bored because I didn't care about any of the characters because I didn't know how they connected to the first group of characters, and also I didn't like the fact that the male main character and the female main character didn't really have like situations together. We're waiting for the third book to come out. It's an indie published series. It's just another cookie cutter fantasy romance, and I'm just okay on it at this point, so I think I'm going to DNF the series. I don't feel like I should really continue a series that I have no like desire to pick up or know the ending of any of the characters. So I have officially decided to unfortunately DNF it. I love the first one. The second one was just not for me, so I will be DNFing it. The next one is The Ascended. Ascended duet. I of course will be continuing it. I loved it. I posted it in my previous like reading vlog for the Bookmas videos. I absolutely loved the first book. I gave it 5 stars. It was written so well. I think Greenwich and Lennox, like their writing has gotten way better with each book they've written. The first one, Riftborn, was okay. The second one, Deathspan, was better, and Ascended is my favorite. They are like not within the same series, but they are in the same world, so they are kind of connected because of different stuff that happened in Ascended. So you will find out if you read it in that order. I loved Ascended. I think it was such a great like story, and also I love the ending, and I like that it was like a celestial based magic system as well. And also I love the female main character. I think she will go up there to be one of my favorites because I love how strong she is, how intelligent she is. She's very like calculated, and she's very protective of the people she loves, and the male main character, I really loved him too. So yes, of course I'll be continuing on. And then next one is The Night and the Moth, which is the Stonewater Kingdom. The second book will be out in September next year. I love Rachel Gilley. I love her writing, so of course I will continue that too. And it's just a duology, so it's really easy to finish. But the first one ended up in such a huge cliffhanger. I love the world. Bartholomew is my favorite character, and the love story was like amazing. I loved it so much. But yes, I will for sure continue on because I love Rachel Gilley's writing and it's very atmospheric. Next book series is Wicked Games. That's the Phantasma and also Enchantra, where it's like books that are interconnected series where they follow different characters in different like situations and worlds, but they all like show up in each other's books. And then also I think she's currently writing the 3rd book right now. I have a feeling on who we're following next is probably one of the characters who shows up in Enchantra, and I'm so excited for the 3rd one to come out. I love her writing. It's so gothic and atmospheric. I really love like both books, but I think I enjoyed Phantasma more than Enchantra, but I will be continuing on. Next is of course the ACOTAR series. I of course will be continuing on. Like, is that even a question? ACOTAR series is the reason why I got back into reading in the first place. Fourth Wing in the ACOTAR series, and then I completely got obsessed in Thread of Glass. So yes, I will be continuing on with ACOTAR series. We got an update earlier this summer in July. Sarah J. Maas said she was done writing the first draft and turned in, but we shall see what that means because that could mean anything. We could be doing multiple drafts, and they also have to go through final edits, so we might just be waiting still maybe a year. But yeah, I'll be continuing. Empyrean series, duh. I love Fourth Wing. It's one of my favorite series of all time. I'm still shocked by the ending, and I'm like hanging from that cliff. And if I try to pick up any of the books right now, I will get obsessed and like go back into a slump. So I make it a point to not pick up those books and reread them constantly, because if I do, I will not pick up any other books. So yes, of course I'll be continuing the Empyrean series, and I'm just waiting for the 4th book to be announced. And then the next one is the Magnolia Parks universe. I think it's my favorite contemporary series of all time. I love the whole entire series. I love all the characters. It's very toxic, and like a lot of the characters you will hate, but I think I track to that a lot. I track to toxic, flawed, very like bad characters who make a lot of mistakes, because I love watching them grow and also be different from what they were before. And the next 2 books that are going to be out are all about Daisy Hates. So Magnolia and BJ's story is done. We got our last book on them. The last 2 will be about Daisy Hates and Christian. I'm so scared for the Daisy Hates and Christian like book, because there are rumors that a certain character might not make it to the end of the series, and I'm so scared because they're one of my favorite characters. So we'll see how it happens with that. But yes, I for sure will be continuing on. Next is Quicksilver. I just read the last book that was released, 2nd book Brimstone. 3rd book is supposed to be released in fall of next year. I think it's November if I read that correctly, but of course I'll be continuing. I love that series. It's such a fun good time, and I love the characters. Next is The Wolves of Ruin. The first book is Direbound, and the second book that's going to come out is Furybound. That's coming out in June, I want to say. Oh, February. It's going to come out in February. I can't wait to continue it. The last book, the ending was so amazing, and I love the cliffhanger of it, and I can't wait to see the development of a love story in the second book. That's what I'm so excited about, and see how the story continues. And the next one is the Rose Bargain series, which is, I think it's going to be only a duology. The second book will release on April 14th, and I can't wait to continue the book. I loved the first book so much. It was such an unexpected love for me, and I love that it combined like different elements of my favorite tropes and favorite storylines. It was very Cruel Prince feeling, along with the whimsy of Once Upon a Broken Heart, and I love that it combined like the season courting and romance where Bridgerton goes through. I love that setting, and so I of course will be continuing on, and I can't wait to see what happens next because of the ending. I love books with like cliffhangers. I know a lot of people hate cliffhangers, but I love them personally because it gives me a reason to keep like pushing to the next book. I don't like it when it's just where it just ends with no reason to continue on. I don't know how people continue a series like that. And so it leaves me more excited when the new release comes out, because then I can go straight out and pick it up because there's a storyline that I want to be continued and want answers to. So I absolutely love cliffhangers. Next is the Sprithian trilogy. I spoke about Ascended earlier. Runblade is supposed to come out in May 26, 2026, but unfortunately, like, we will get a pushback on that because Greenwich Athletics been picked up to be traditionally published, and that's completely amazing. I'm so happy for them, well deserved. But unfortunately, that means we will get like a delay on this next book for the Sprithian trilogy, which is completely fine. I'm so happy for them. I'm kind of sad that we won't get it next year. I will be continuing on and completing the trilogy. Next is Shield of Sparrows. A lot of these are probably very familiar because I did speak about it in my previous video where I went over all the expected releases and my exciting release next year. And so yes, I'll be continuing on with Shield of Sparrows. I love the world, I love the characters, and I can't wait to see what happens because of the huge like plot twist at the end. Metal Slinger, the Fire and Metal book, the second book, Light Wielder, is coming out next year. I'm so excited. We've been waiting for so long for the second book to come out. That shocking cliffhanger at the end, the shocking twist. I can't wait to see what happens next, and I think there's going to be a time jump. That's what Rachel Schneider has said, and I'm scared but excited at the same time. And then next is going to be Moonfall, When the Moon Hatched. Next one is The Ballad of Falling Dragons. I did not like When the Moon Hatched. I love the world. I loved how the dragons were portrayed in that, and I love the story. The biggest problem I had was with Rave or Raven. I keep forgetting her name. She was so like, she reminded me of DM so much. She was so frustrating, and it was 700 pages of her being frustrating. So I will continuing on because I did love the male main character, and also I do want to know more of the world and the story, and I hope she has a huge character development in the second book, and I hope I will fall in love with it then. And I think also, again, it's one of those situations where When the Moon Hatched was a right book, wrong time kind of deal. So I will be rereading the first book before I jump into Ballad of Falling Dragons because I do like Sarah A. Parker's writing. I will be continuing on with the Moonfall series. Okay, so these are the next where I fully decided I'm not going to be continuing this series. I will not be picking them up, and they'll be left behind in 2025. I will not be continuing on with A Tribute of Fire series. I just did not like the first one. It was so cookie cutter. I did not like the female main character. I thought the whole entire story was so boring. It was so predictable. I knew what the revelation goal was going to be at the end the whole entire time. And also the male main character for a romantasy did not show up until like maybe towards the end. He did have like some few scenes in the beginning, but then the whole entire check of the middle, he did not show up. It was more of like her daily life, and also the trials were not that unique. In fact, it ended so fast. I'm not continuing that series on. Yes, people said that the second book is so much better, but I'm not interested enough to move on. There was nothing compelling about it for me to move on, so unfortunately I will not. I decided to DNF the Curse of Ophelia series. I gave it the first two books. The first one I gave a 3 stars to. It's just I don't like any of the characters. I thought the mental health representation was amazing, but I just don't like the characters. I have no connection to any of them. I don't like the love story, and the world was just okay. I honestly was like so bored for the first 2 books, so I have decided to DNF it. And then next is like within the same like category, I guess I'll talk about both of them at the same time. Silver Elite and To Cage a Wild Bird. Both are like dystopian romance, kind of like a fantasy too. I just don't like the characters. They were both so similar to me. Both of them got 2 stars from me. I hated the insta-lust in there. The male main characters were just like tools for the female main characters to use, which was so sad because I did like the storylines that were happening in the world and also like the different magic systems in it, but it just wasn't compelling enough to me, and I don't like the female main characters enough to read from their perspective all the time, so I will not be continuing on. Next is Alchemy of Secrets. If you watched my other vlog, you know how much I despise that book. There was nothing going on in it for me, and I thought the characters was just so similar to Stephanie Garber's other characters in her young adult novels, so I will not be continuing on with that series. I don't know how many it's going to be in it, but I just know I'm not going to continue in it. The last 2, Flawless, I know I mentioned it in my last continuing series vlog. I want to see what's the last one. I will not be continuing on with the Flawless series. If I ever want to have it as a palette cleanser later, I might pick it up for that. I gave it to Book Chance, and it's just not it for me anymore. And the last one is I read Secrets of the Nile, I think last year, and there was a second book that came out. I don't remember what it was. I don't like it. I gave it another 2 stars. Secrets of the Nile female. It's based on Egyptian mythology and it's like taking place in Cairo. It's about a character named Inez, and she goes off to sort of try to discover what happened to her parents because they were sort of archaeologists there, and unfortunately both passed away. And so she went to go find out what happened to them, and she comes across like a person who used to work with them, and she ends up having sort of a romantic relations with them. And I was like so excited to read it because there's like very little stories that are based in Egyptian mythology, and I absolutely loved The Mummy, and a lot of people compared it to The Mummy. It is not like The Mummy. And also I didn't like the female main character. I don't know, I just couldn't get behind any of the stuff that she would do, and she would make stupid decisions, and she was so naive, and she was so trusting and gullible. For like 3/4 of the book there was nothing, absolutely nothing happening, and the romance was very forced, and the only time there was like sort of action that was happening, it happened within the last 25% of the book. By that point I was like done with it, and I was starting to skim through the action because I just didn't honestly care. And so that was one of the books I gave it 2 stars to also, and I will not be continuing on with the series. I think it's a duology. So yeah, that's the last book I will not be taking with me to 2025. And so that was all the series that I will be continuing on with, that I am awaiting new releases on, and also book series I will not be continuing on with, that I fully decided I will not. That is like lighter for me, at least, because I know now officially which books I don't want to continue on with. I will continue on with like the series vlogs because I know I've been liking it myself, and I love reading the next installment because it holds me accountable to continue on with the series, and then hopefully be done with that series and just wait for new releases or completely finish it up so I can stop like thinking about it. Thank you for watching. If you made it this far, comment down below what series you are continuing on with or you chose to DNF, and if you like videos like this, like and subscribe. It really does help my channel a lot, and I will see you all next time. Bye.